Nobody expected the night to end like this. What was supposed to be another regular WNBA showdown suddenly turned into a storm of reactions, heated debates, and one question that exploded across social media within minutes of the final buzzer. As the scoreboard locked in at 96-81, Angel Reese found herself at the center of a brutal wave of criticism, while fans everywhere began searching for one thing: Caitlin Clark's reaction. The internet moved fast.
Clips started spreading.
Comment sections turned into battle zones. Supporters rushed to defend Reese, critics piled on, and every missed defensive assignment, every difficult possession, and every frustrating moment from the game was replayed thousands of times across social media. But then something unexpected happened. Instead of the usual rivalry talk dominating headlines, attention suddenly shifted toward Caitlin Clark. Fans, analysts, and even former players began speculating about what she might be thinking as Angel Reese endured one of the toughest public nights of the season. Was there sympathy? Was there satisfaction? Or was something much bigger happening behind the scenes that nobody had seen coming? As emotions boiled over and reactions poured in from every corner of the basketball world, whispers of locker room tension, media pressure, and growing league-wide rivalries started gaining momentum. And what happened next would turn an already controversial night into an even bigger story. For months, every conversation surrounding the WNBA seemed to circle back to the same two names: Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. What began as a college rivalry had evolved into something much bigger, something far more emotional than a simple basketball competition. Every game, every interview, every social media post seemed to fuel a narrative that neither player could fully escape. Angel Reese had built her reputation on confidence, intensity, and refusing to back down from criticism. Her supporters viewed her as fearless, a player willing to embrace pressure while carrying enormous expectations. But with that confidence came constant scrutiny. Every strong performance was celebrated, yet every mistake became headline material. The spotlight never disappeared. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark's arrival in the professional ranks brought unprecedented attention to the league. Television ratings surged. Arenas sold out. Media coverage exploded. Whether fair or unfair, comparisons between Clark and Reese became unavoidable. Fans chose sides. Debates became more heated. Every success by one player was often framed as a setback for the other. Behind the scenes, the pressure was growing. Analysts questioned whether Reese could continue developing offensively. Critics argued that opposing teams had started identifying weaknesses in her game. Supporters pushed back, insisting that she was still one of the league's most impactful young stars. The arguments never stopped. Then came Atlanta's strong start to the season. Suddenly, confidence inside the organization was rising. Players spoke positively about their chemistry. Expectations increased. Some began talking about Atlanta as a legitimate contender. Reese appeared energized by the momentum, embracing the attention and standing firmly behind her team's ambitions. But success can create dangerous expectations. The higher the praise climbed, the more people waited for a mistake. Opposing teams noticed the growing confidence. Veterans around the league heard the conversations. Every statement was being remembered. Every prediction was being stored away. At the same time, social media was becoming increasingly toxic. Every Reese performance generated thousands of reactions within minutes. Supporters defended her relentlessly. Critics searched for reasons to attack. The environment surrounding her games felt less like sports discussion and more like a non-stop battlefield. Few people realized how much pressure was building beneath the surface. Because while fans were arguing online and analysts were debating television segments, another reality was quietly taking shape. Opponents were studying film. Coaches were preparing game plans. Veteran players were paying attention. And heading into the matchup that would eventually end in a humiliating 96-81 defeat, there were already signs that something was about to go very wrong. What nobody realized was that the first major shock of the entire controversy was only moments away. From the opening minutes, something felt different. Atlanta entered the game expecting to continue its momentum, but instead, the energy inside the arena quickly shifted. Every possession seemed harder than expected. Every defensive rotation appeared a step slow. What should have been a competitive battle started turning into a growing nightmare. At first, fans dismissed it as a rough start. Then the mistakes kept coming. Missed opportunities, defensive breakdowns, frustrated reactions. The pressure began building with every passing minute. Cameras repeatedly caught Angel Reese looking visibly frustrated as the game started slipping further away from Atlanta's control. But the real problem wasn't just the scoreboard. It was what was happening on the court. Veteran players on the opposing side appeared completely comfortable attacking Atlanta's defense. Possession after possession, they targeted weaknesses and forced difficult decisions. The confidence Atlanta had displayed during its strong start suddenly seemed to vanish. As the deficit grew, social media exploded. Clips started circulating before the game was even over. Fans were isolating individual plays, replaying defensive mistakes, and questioning whether Atlanta's early season success had been exaggerated. What began as criticism quickly evolved into something much more damaging. Then came the moment that changed everything. One sequence, one possession, one clip. A defensive breakdown involving Reese spread across social media at lightning speed. Within minutes, major basketball accounts were posting it. Commentators were reacting to it. Fans were debating it. The clip became the symbol of the entire game. Suddenly, the conversation wasn't about Atlanta losing. It was about Angel Reese being exposed. Critics immediately seized the opportunity. They argued that opposing teams had finally discovered a blueprint to attack her. Analysts began questioning whether certain flaws in her game were becoming impossible to ignore. The online criticism intensified with every passing hour. But then came the first shocking twist. As the backlash grew, attention unexpectedly shifted away from the game itself and towards someone who wasn't even on the floor. Caitlin Clark. Her name suddenly began trending alongside highlights from the loss. Fans started flooding social media with speculation. Some wondered whether Clark had seen the criticism. Others debated how she might react. Every small online activity became a source of investigation. Every rumor spread at incredible speed. The rivalry narrative instantly returned. What should have been a discussion about a single game transformed into a league-wide conversation involving two of the biggest names in women's basketball. The situation was spiraling beyond anyone's control. And while Reese was dealing with the fallout from the loss, an even bigger problem was quietly developing behind the scenes. Because reports of growing frustration inside basketball circles were beginning to emerge. And the next revelation would make the entire situation far more explosive than anyone expected. By the time the final buzzer was a distant memory, the game itself was no longer the biggest story. The story had become the reaction. Sports shows opened with it. Basketball podcasts debated it. Social media feeds were flooded with clips, screenshots, and arguments. Everywhere fans looked, the same question kept appearing. Had Angel Reese just suffered the most damaging night of her season? The criticism was relentless. Former players began breaking down the footage. Analysts questioned Atlanta's defensive strategy. Commentators highlighted possessions where the team appeared disconnected and frustrated. What started as a tough loss was now being framed as evidence of a much deeper problem. Then things became even worse. Reports started circulating that frustration was growing among fans of the team itself. Some supporters defended Reese and blamed the coaching staff. Others argued that the offense looked smoother during stretches, when the ball moved more freely. The fan base was no longer united. It was divided. And division creates chaos. Every interview was analyzed. Every quote was dissected. Every facial expression became a headline. People weren't just talking about basketball anymore. They were searching for signs of tension. Then came the second major twist. Late that night, social media exploded over what many believed was Caitlin Clark's indirect reaction to the situation. Nobody could agree on what it meant. Some fans claimed it was nothing. Others insisted it was impossible to ignore. Within hours, speculation reached a level that nobody anticipated. Videos appeared with dramatic headlines. Comment sections turned into war zones. Supporters of both players began accusing each other of pushing false narratives. The rivalry that had followed them since college suddenly felt alive again. Whether Clark intended it or not, her name was now tied directly to the controversy. And that changed everything. Because the moment Clark entered the conversation, media attention multiplied. National outlets started covering the story. Influencers jumped into the debate. Former athletes offered opinions. The discussion grew larger than a single game, larger than a single performance. Meanwhile, Angel Reese found herself trapped at the center of the storm. Every attempt to discuss the loss led back to the same viral clips. Every conversation returned to the same criticism. Every headline seemed designed to magnify the embarrassment. But behind the scenes, league insiders were beginning to notice something else. The pressure surrounding Reese wasn't just coming from opponents or fans anymore. It was coming from expectations. Expectations from the media. Expectations from the organization. Expectations created by the enormous spotlight surrounding the league's biggest stars. And as that pressure intensified, whispers of locker room frustration and growing internal concerns started becoming impossible to ignore. What happened next would push the controversy into an entirely different level and trigger an emotional fallout that nobody saw coming. The morning after the loss felt less like the aftermath of a basketball game and more like the aftermath of a public spectacle. Everywhere Angel Reese looked, the conversation was waiting for her. Television segments replayed the same clips. Sports radio hosts debated the same questions. Social media timelines became endless streams of criticism, defense, arguments, and outrage. The 96-81 loss was no longer just a result in the standings. It had become a national talking point. The emotional pressure was impossible to ignore. Supporters rushed to defend Reese, arguing that one difficult night should not define an entire season. They pointed to her competitiveness, her rebounding, and the intensity she brings every time she steps onto the court. But critics were louder than ever. They claimed the game exposed problems that had been building for months. They questioned the hype. They questioned the expectations. They questioned whether Atlanta was truly as strong as many people believed. The debate became so intense that fans began attacking each other online. Comment sections turned toxic. Rival fan bases flooded posts with arguments. Every new highlight generated thousands of reactions within minutes. Then another layer of drama emerged. Reporters started asking Atlanta players questions about the loss. Every answer was scrutinized. Every response was analyzed for hidden meaning. Even routine comments suddenly sparked speculation about possible frustration behind the scenes. The pressure wasn't only on Reese anymore. It was on the entire organization. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark's name continued hovering over the story. The more attention the controversy received, the more fans tried connecting every development back to the rivalry narrative. Some believed the media was intentionally fueling comparisons. Others argued that the public obsession with putting the two stars against each other had reached an unhealthy level. But regardless of where people stood, one thing was undeniable. The attention wasn't slowing down. If anything, it was getting bigger. Basketball analysts began discussing the long-term impact of the situation. Could the criticism affect confidence? Would opponents become even more aggressive? Had the loss created a blueprint that future teams would try to exploit? Those questions started creating real concern. Because while fans were busy arguing online, Atlanta still had games to play. And every future performance now carried extra pressure. Every mistake would be magnified. Every bad shooting night would become a headline. Every loss would reopen the same conversation. The emotional weight of the situation was growing heavier by the day. Yet the most surprising development had not happened yet. Because as the backlash intensified and the media frenzy reached new heights, whispers began circulating about a reaction that very few people expected. A reaction that had the potential to completely change how the entire story was viewed. And when that reaction finally surfaced, it threatened to turn the controversy upside down in a way nobody saw coming. Just when it seemed the controversy had reached its peak, the story took an unexpected turn. For days, the basketball world had been consumed by criticism, debate, and endless speculation. Fans were convinced they knew exactly what had happened. Analysts believed they had already identified the winners and losers of the situation. Social media had practically delivered its verdict. Then a different narrative started emerging. Instead of focusing solely on the embarrassing loss, attention shifted towards something far more revealing: the pressure surrounding the league's biggest stars. Suddenly, people began asking a different question. What if the real story was not the defeat itself? What if the real story was what happens when a young player is forced to carry enormous expectations under a microscope that never turns off? The conversation changed almost overnight. Former players began speaking about the mental side of professional basketball. They described the pressure of being judged after every game, every interview, and every mistake. They talked about how quickly public opinion can swing from praise to criticism. And for the first time since the loss, some of the discussion began moving away from the scoreboard. That's when the speculation surrounding Caitlin Clark took another unexpected turn. Rather than fueling the controversy, many observers noticed something else. There was no public celebration, no dramatic response, no obvious attempt to escalate the rivalry. Instead, the focus remained on basketball. That realization caught many fans off guard. For weeks, people had been expecting another chapter in a never-ending feud. They wanted conflict. They wanted drama. They wanted a viral moment that would dominate headlines. But reality proved more complicated. The rivalry narrative that generated so much attention was often being driven by outside voices rather than the players themselves. And that revelation created an entirely new debate. Had fans and media amplified the tension beyond reality? Had the pressure surrounding both players become larger than the actual competition? The questions kept growing. Meanwhile, inside Atlanta, the stakes remained enormous. One loss could be dismissed. A pattern could not. The team still needed answers. The criticism was still there. The expectations had not disappeared. And opponents around the league were watching closely. Every upcoming game suddenly carried extra meaning. Would Angel Reese respond with the best stretch of basketball of her season and silence the critics? Or would future struggles convince even more people that the concerns raised after the 96-81 defeat were justified? Nobody knew the answer. But one thing was certain. The next chapter of the story was already beginning. Because as cameras prepared to follow every move, fans continued debating every detail, and pressure mounted with each passing day. A showdown that many people thought was over appeared to be heading toward an even bigger collision. And if that collision happens, everything the basketball world believes about this rivalry could change again. What do you think really happened after Angel Reese's difficult 81-96 loss? Was this simply one bad night that the media turned into a massive controversy? Or did the game expose deeper issues that could follow Atlanta throughout the rest of the season? And what about Caitlin Clark? Do you think fans and media have exaggerated the rivalry between these two stars? Or do you believe every headline, reaction, and comparison is adding fuel to a competition that continues to grow with every passing week? The debate is far from over. One side believes Angel Reese will use this moment as motivation, silence the critics, and prove she belongs among the league's biggest stars. The other side believes the pressure is only beginning and that future opponents will continue attacking the same weaknesses that were exposed during this loss. Now, it's your turn to decide. Drop your thoughts in the comments below and tell us where you stand. Do you believe Angel Reese bounces back stronger, or do you think this game will become a turning point in her season? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest WNBA news, rivalries, controversies, and breaking stories. Because if you thought this situation was dramatic, the next chapter could be even bigger. And trust us, you won't want to miss what happens next.